awaiting trial, yes?
She was there.
And you believed she was innocent.
Yes.
And you had this whole explanation to assist with exonerating her, right?
I have the truth of what happened, yes.
But you didn't offer the truth of what happened, did you?
Nobody came to me. I thought the truth would come out.
Does someone have to come to you?
I was told not to talk to Katie and not to talk to anybody about this case by counsel.
Okay. So you strike that. On day one, which is July 18th, 2014, she is the only one that physically contacted you to conduct this extortion. Am I correct in that?
Yes, you are.
So you never actually had any contact with any Latin King?
No.
No phone calls?
No phone calls.
No texts?
No.
No letters?
Well, in 2016, you're talking about in 14, right?
I'm talking about the first layer of the extortion. Did you have any contact with the thugs that were getting your money for 2 years?
No.
Did anybody put a gun to your head?
I was told that I would be killed in 48 hours if I didn't pay up.
I heard you say that, but my question is, did anyone put a gun to your head?
You're asking me, did anyone pull a gun on me?
That's what I asked you.
Is that your question? No, nobody pulled a firearm on me.
All right, so when Katherine Magbanua came to you on July 18th and said, open the safe and give me all your money, she was not armed.
She was not carrying a gun that day, no.
Were you armed at that time? Did you have a weapon in your home?
I had weapons in my safe, yes.
Were you led to believe or told that the bad guys are outside, right outside your apartment or your residence?
No, but I was led to believe what they did to Dan, they were going to do to me.
I heard you say that, but my question is, did she say, like, the car's running, I'm going to take the money out there to him right now?
No, she never told me that they were waiting for me outside my house.
In fact, she stayed the night with you, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
And didn't exit your house with your $138,000 until the next day, right?
Correct.
And the money, the $138,000, was that stapled into $1,000 increments?
Each packet was $1,000, and they had a staple in it.
And stapling money's a little unusual. Would you agree with that?
For me, it wasn't unusual. That's what I did.
Right, but nobody else does it. That's why I'm suggesting it's unusual.
I've never questioned people into how they keep their money, whether they keep it with a staple or a paper clip or an envelope. I just know what I do.
Would you agree, Doctor, that it's a compelling piece of evidence that the killers were paid in stapled money and came up with that information in this case?
It's not compelling. The people who extorted me and got my money got it from my house, and it was stapled at my house.
They had to have gotten it from you, right? Because it was stapled.
If they got it from Katie, they got it from me.
So it had to be some kind of, I paid, but I did it under duress, based on that piece of evidence, right? That had to be built into your defense.
I was extorted, and I paid the money.
All right, so Katie comes in and she's in a panic and she tells you what's happened. And I need all the money in your safe right now. Do you suspect that maybe she's working with the police at that point? Maybe she's trying to set you up?
No, she didn't say I need all the money in your safe. That's not what she said.
Did she take all the money in your safe?
I cleaned out all the money in my safe and handed it to her.
Right. Why did you do that?
Because I was being extorted for $250,000.
But why didn't you? The bump was only $5,000, and you immediately became suspicious and questioning and had all these conversations and deliberations about what to do about it for days. When Katie comes to you, you just open the safe and give her the money, right?
That's what I did, and there's a big difference between the two.
Okay, well, the way that it was done to you, is that the way it's done?
You have to be more specific, please.
Well, on the wire, you say repeatedly, that's not the way it's done. You knew that the undercover agent was law enforcement, or at least strongly suspected, because that's not the way it's done. And my question to you is, since you're an expert on extortion, because you've been extorted before and that's how you knew that's not the way it's done, is this the way it's done? Do extortionists send a girlfriend of their victim to collect their extortion money? Is that the way it's done, doctor?
I'm telling you what happened to me, and I was told that if I didn't pay in 48 hours, I would be killed. The person that came and extorted my mom, that was not the same approach as what happened to me.
Is that the only way? That's the only way it's done? They send the girlfriend?
It's the only time I've ever been extorted like that.
Okay. And did you hear any of the so they come in and they say, strike. They come in and they say, we need $333,000.
You need to pay $333,000.
You need to pay $333,000. Why not $1 million?
Because when I had told to Katie that the $1 million offer for Dan Markel, I said I was going to pay $333,000. And when she asked me, do you have that much money? And I said, yeah, I could pay it in cash. So she took it as I had cash, and she knew I had a ton of cash in my safe. So she thought I had the cash. I didn't have all that cash. So that's where I'm assuming they got the $333,000 from.
But the offer that she bragged about was $1 million offer, isn't that right? That she ran her mouth about.
I was never there when she spoke to her friend.
Okay, was it $1 million offer?
The offer was that $1 million was going to be paid, and I was going to pay $333,000.
And weren't you going to cover Wendy's third as well?
No, not at all. I was going to cover my third.
Didn't your lawyer say in opening statement that you were going to cover the whole thing, or Wendy's third?
No, I was sitting here. I heard what he said. Charlie was going to pay $333,000.
All right. And so the offer was $1 million offer, and that's what you told Katie, along with the fact that you were going to cover the third.
I was telling her that I was going to pay $333,000, yeah. And then one day, if my sister was able to, she was going to pay me back.
And then you didn't have the amount of money that was being demanded at the time, right?
No, I only had what I had.
All right. And at that point, the blackmailer, Katherine Magbanua, negotiates some type of layaway plan for you to complete the extortion with the Latin Kings?
Okay, Katie wasn't the blackmailer, and Katie wasn't the one who was extorting me.
Didn't you just tell this jury that Katie was the blackmailer? You realized it in 2019.
I had thought that when you were just talking, you were talking about 2014. You were talking about that night,
okay.
So that night happened in 2014.
Okay. We all know now, because you have revealed the puzzle piece, she's a blackmailer. Can we agree on that?
I believe, sitting here in 2023,
yes,
that she was in on the extortion for sure.
Yes. So is it okay if I refer to her as a blackmailer?
I think there's a difference between blackmail and extortion, but yeah,
okay.
Sitting here today, we can. Sure.
We'll refer to her as an extortionist. So this woman, the extortionist, is going to do you a solid by negotiating with the Latin Kings for you to get on a payment plan for the extortion. Isn't that what happened?
What you're doing is you're taking what we know in 2003 and trying to say, this is what I knew in 2014.
Did she put you on a payment plan?
Yes, she said, because I didn't have the money, she said, ask me if I could pay $3,000 a month in 2014, and I said, yes, I can.
Did you hear any of the conversation where she was making these negotiations on your behalf?
No, when she said, I'm going to go check with my friend and if that's okay with him, she took her purse, took her keys, took her cell phone, she walked out of my front door, closed the door behind her, and I sat in my living room, and she came back about 5 minutes later.
You didn't want to talk to the guy yourself?
No, I didn't even think of that. I mean, but she went outside to call him.
All right, and then the two of you took a Xanax and went to sleep.
Well, I took a Xanax. I don't know if she took one out of the bottle, but I definitely did.
And the next morning, she left with your money, right?
She left about 8:30 the next morning.
That's July 19th, 2014.
Correct.
Let's talk about what you did that day. You did not report this to the police because you were in fear, correct?
Absolutely.
And you didn't report this to Wendy, even though, according to you, her life was in danger too, correct?
Potentially, but I planned on paying the extortion every month.
All right, but you did go to the gym that morning, right?